A wife revealed that she ate her dead husband's ashes. Stolen sausages leads to a nursing home stabbing. And a woman calls the police after finding 100 raccoons at her door, begging for food. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the galaxy. A scorned housewife reveals that she ate her dead husband's ashes. She reveals. That means she told somebody. Lady, shh. Less reveal, more secretive. Yes, less reveal, more secretive, especially if you act crazy. We have a Canadian widow. She wrote a gripping memoir. She wrote it down. She not only revealed it. It wasn't like she told her friend over tea. She's like, you know what? I'm going to type this out and try and publish it for the world to read. She detailed consuming her late husband's ashes. She had a good reason, though. She was a scorned woman. She learned that her deceased husband had a number of affairs, including having the company of several high-priced escorts as well. So she was feeling like she was going to get some revenge by eating the ashes. Well, I think we can all agree it's pretty crazy to eat your dead husband's ashes, but it's pretty kick-ass to swallow your enemy whole and then crap them out after the fact, huh? Now, this scorned widow wrote a book called A Widow's Guide to Dead Bastards. In the book, she recounts how she opened her porn-addicted husband's iPad to look up the number for the Houston hospital holding his body and discovered some pretty damning browsing history. She saw searches for specific escorts as well as their prices and their locations. This led her to spending months unraveling her husband's secret life, learning that he regularly saw prostitutes and cheated on her with several women as well. She really lost it when she discovered that her husband had been renting an apartment in another state where he would have sex with escorts and women that he'd picked up. She writes that she could not come to terms with the reality of her husband's secret double life, and she slowly started losing it. She described cutting open the bag of his ashes and bringing them into her garden, where she mixed some of the ashes into her dog's feces. And then finally, in despair, she took some of the ashes and actually ate them, she reveals in the memoir. I'm kind of curious, did she just use the ashes for some seasonings? Or did she make some dusty hubby muffins? Like maybe a dry rub on some piggy ribs? We're all going to be disappointed to learn that, according to the memoir, she just ate them raw. She didn't mix them with anything. She just put the ashes in her mouth and swallowed. It's pretty gangster, man. I mean, you guys thought that TikTok cinnamon challenge was difficult. Imagine trying to eat a bag full of ashes. According to her, she says she felt better and stronger than before after eating the ashes. Is anyone concerned that she might move on to living beings? I mean, eating ashes is sort of like the gateway snack to cannibalism, right? Anyways, I was thinking it's kind of weird how people can do pretty much anything they want with dead ashes, but not with the body, right? I mean, you pick up somebody's dead ashes, you can dump them here, there, anywhere. You bury them somewhere, shoot them into space, stick them in the ocean, eat them, apparently. You don't face any legal consequences for desecrating ashes. But a body, there's all sorts of rules and regulations and legalities surrounding a dead body. You guys remember the scene at the end of The Big Lebowski when they dump Donnie's ashes, but the wind blows it back in their face? Well, I should say back in the dude's face. Again, you can do anything with ashes for some reason. It's very odd to me. So this woman can even write about it, and people are just going to think she's a little nuts, but I guess that's about it. Stolen sausages led to a nursing home resident being stabbed in the chest. This story is out of Tybee Island, Georgia. An argument over who stole some Vienna sausages at a coastal Georgia nursing home ended with one man being stabbed in the chest. The police say they were called to a nursing home where they found a man had been stabbed in the chest. Investigators say one man accused another of stealing his can of Vienna sausages. My goodness, over a can of Vienna sausages? I gotta say, those sausages aren't the greatest. Imagine what they would do over a stolen can of spam. Spam, spam, eggs and spam, spam and eggs, spam and sausage. Or maybe some beef jerky. Have you seen the price of beef jerky lately, by the way? Like a bag of beef jerky I saw in the store the other day was like $21. But I can get a steak pretty much for that price. An actual delicious steak. Why get the dried beef jerky when you can get a real steak? Anyways, I digest. It's just a damn shame that someone's got to get stabbed in the chest over cheap canned meat. Investigators say the man accused the other of stealing his can of sausages. During the argument, one man pulled out a knife and stabbed the other. It's unclear if the man who was stabbed was the one who lost the sausages or not. How do you not work that out? There's got to be some witnesses. This is an elderly home. They're all just sitting around gossiping. The injured resident was taken to the hospital. There's no word on the person's condition. We got no information about what happened to the Vienna sausage stabbing of 2024. I'm on the edge of my seat here. The end of the article says it's unclear as of yet if the Vienna sausages were even stolen. Wow, this story is it's the worst. Am I right, guys? I'm going to look for another link, see if I can get some more information. Guys, come on, the sausage puns. The other link just says the victim was transported to the hospital to be treated for some stabbing injuries. Well, like prisons, nursing homes, they have a currency. And in this particular nursing home, obviously, it's Vienna sausages. That's the currency. Some homes, it's Cheez-Its. Some, it's Jell-O. If you're in the Florida villages, the currency is Viagra. You can get stabbed over stolen Viagra. And just lastly, I'll give some advice. If you have a relative that's in a nursing home, find out what the currency is. It might be canned sausages, It might be Now and Laters. Remember those? Maybe it's an old school candy because you got some old school people in there. Anyways, find out what the currency is and make sure that your relative has none of it. In fact, try and turn them on to a different currency, something related to it. Like in this instance, it's the Vienna sausages. Maybe you could talk your relative into loving spam, wanting spam, or even hot dogs at that point. Corn dogs are good. Corn dogs are fine. Just get the frozen ones. Have them supplied with that. That way they don't get stabbed over whatever the currency is in that particular prison. Excuse me, nursing home. A woman called 911 after 100 raccoons gathered outside of her home demanding food. That sounds like a nice party. Ain't nothing like a raccoon party. Do, 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 do. Ain't nothing like a raccoon party. Dun, 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 dun. Well, now, this particular story is out of Poulsbo, Washington. A woman living near Poulsbo alerted authorities after she couldn't get inside her home because of the raccoon invasion. A spokesperson for the Kitsap County Sheriff said the woman called deputies because 100 raccoons were outside her home and they were demanding food. She couldn't even get inside. There were like 10 raccoons deep at the front door. The woman told the police she started feeding the raccoons. Oh, lady, what are you doing? This is what happens. You feed one raccoon, and then they tell all their friends, and then it's a raccoon network, and then all the babies show up too. Okay, this lady, come on, she started feeding her raccoons. The raccoons around her home 35 years ago without any problems. She said 35 years of feeding these things, and now there's 100. I highly doubt it was all 100 in one day. Last year it was probably 80. It's just been building up over the decades because you stupid lady, you're stupid. Now, she claims that the population of raccoons, quote, exploded all of a sudden. And now the animals surround her home day and night, hoping for a meal. The deputy spokesperson said somehow the word got out in raccoon land and they all showed up at her house expecting a meal. The deputies responded to the woman's home and were startled by how many raccoons they saw. The guy says they were shocked. The police were shocked. They had never seen that many raccoons in one place. Nobody ever remembers being surrounded by a swarm of raccoons. This was a first. They also interviewed one of the neighbors. I feel bad for the neighbors. You don't want your neighbor feeding the whole raccoon population in the area. Or any vermin, for that matter. Jonesy, how dare you call raccoons vermin? Yeah, I'm calling them vermin. If they're rummaging through your trash, showing up at your front door. They spread things, man. They spread things you don't want, and they do damage. Okay. Wendy's the neighbor. She says, it's been about the last month or so that I've noticed this issue. I've had several raccoons in my yard recently. My dogs have gotten in a scuffle several times with raccoons. I've even had to take one of my dogs to the vet after fighting with a raccoon. I've also noticed there's been a lot more hit raccoons up on the main road here. A lot of raccoons have been struck by vehicles, like roadkill is what she's saying. She says, I just hope that somebody steps in and helps her take care of this problem, and hopefully she'll stop doing all of that. Yeah, hopefully, but I don't know. She sounds like she's addicted to feeding the wildlife. Lonely people in advanced age, they just start feeding. I'm not going to lie. I've started doing it myself. I've been feeding a couple squirrels some peanuts on my balcony because I'm a little lonely too, man. But let me tell you something. If the squirrel count gets to 5, I'm stopping. All right, and I'm like, okay, no. I'm not having a squirrel colony living on my back balcony. That's not happening. I need a very peaceful place to smoke my marijuana. Now, the spokesperson for the deputies says no one's been bitten or attacked so far. They referred the woman to the Department of Fish and Wildlife to address her serious raccoon problem. She told the deputies she contacted a trapping organization recently to help, but they wanted $500 per raccoon. Well, that's a lot of money per raccoon. Let me see, 100 times 500. That's probably like $5,000 or something to get rid of all 100 of those raccoons, right, guys? Public school mathematics. The spokesperson for the deputies continued to say, at this point, it's been determined that the raccoons haven't committed any crimes. Oh, really? But they're dressed like bandits, man, so maybe you ought to keep an eye on these critters. I wonder what animal control is going to do. This might be too overwhelming for them. In my opinion, there's only one reasonable solution to all of this. You buy an espresso machine and turn her house into a business. You call it a raccoon cafe. People love to go drink coffee among animals. There's cat cafes, there's parrot cafes, there's owl cafes. What's that little furry one? Oh yeah, the bunnies. There's a bunny cafe. There's a snake cafe. I'm looking these up right now. A lot of these weird cafes are in Japan. Here we go, straight up Google. The Rabbit Cafe in Tokyo, that's one. The Katori Cafe in Tokyo, that's a parrot, some kind of bird here. We got the Hedgehog Cafe in Tokyo. Hedgehogs. Oh, hedgehogs look sharp. Are they soft or sharp? This person's holding one while sipping coffee. There's a Pug Cafe in Japan. Are these all in Japan? The Tokyo Snake Center. I guess you can... there's a Zoo Cafe in Hungary. We're looking at lizards here. That's what's going on there. Meerkat Cafe in Seoul, South Korea. Oh, imagine having coffee with some meerkats. That would be pretty sweet. What are these? Baby sheep? There's baby sheep. Another cat. The Owl Cafe in Russia. Won't be going there. Cat Bistro in Rome, Italy. And then we got a cat cafe here in Hollywood that I've done comedy at. And I had to take 2 Benadryl before the show because I'm allergic to cats. But I had to go. I wanted to experience what doing stand-up comedy would be like around animals. And I made it through. I made it through, guys. I was very drowsy, though, during my set. It was a very slow, very low-energy performance by yours truly because of all the... Well, I was hopped up on all that Benny. All right, let me wrap up the story with what we have here in the article, which is a quote from the spokesperson for the deputies, who says, don't feed wild animals, guys. When wild animals have a reliable food source, they're going to keep coming back. And that's what these raccoons did until the number of raccoons expecting a meal got seriously out of hand. So there you go, guys. We're learning very valuable lessons in life. Oh, girl, you know me. I'm alone until you show me that you're still in love with me. And we're gonna make it, and we're gonna take it back where we belong. Turn your love around. Come on, sing it with me, guys. George Benson. The late George Benson. Don't you love George Benson? Why can't I say his name? Ugh, pathetic. Anyways, thanks for spending some time with your buddy Jonesy and the Weird AF News podcast. I appreciate everybody who sent me some articles the last couple of days. It's been very helpful. You can always email me, funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can slide in my DMs on Instagram @funnyjones as well. That's pretty cool. If you want to support the show, go to weirdafnews.com, the official website. That's where you can buy me a coffee or join the Patreon. That's right. If you join the Patreon, you get to witness firsthand Jonesy beginning to kick some ass in the Patreon Fantasy Football League, where I believe I'm in third place, but I've scored the most points. So I believe the most points in the league. Yeah, I think I've scored the most points in the league. Something like that. Anyways, I'm coming for you. Good luck with your life, man.